Hello everybody, Tommyruin here and welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to be giving you some reasons as to why casters in Project Ascension will want to be picking up bows. Now that might sound a little bit odd for most of you, but there are very good reasons as to why a caster in Project Ascension will want to be using a bow or a gun, any ranged weapon, because it just makes you better, and I'm going to tell you why. So, first of all, you will want to be picking up Autoshot. I understand for the seasonals out there, this might not be possible, but if you have Autoshot on a caster, then that is a really good thing to have, because, as I'll show you, it doesn't interrupt your rotation, and it gives you damage, free damage, that you don't have to do anything to gain. The Autoshots will work as part of your rotation, so after you've finished casting your main damaging ability, it will auto shot, and this is all dependent on the speed of the bow and the speed of your cast. So it might not happen after every cast, but every few casts you might be getting a free auto shot, which I found on average to equal roughly 1.5 to 3% of my total damage. So that's free damage that you get for doing absolutely nothing apart from having a bow and some arrows equipped. Alright, so auto shot is a big DPS increase. Why else will you want to be using ranged weapons in Project Ascension on your casters? So the second reason I can think of that you will want to use a ranged weapon is because of Black Arrow. Now, Black Arrow is a survival hunter talent, costs 2 ability essence and 1 talent essence, and it is on a 30-second cooldown, and it increases your damage you do to the target by 8% for 15 seconds, and it also does some upfront shadow damage as well. So this gives you a bit of a damage increase over 15 seconds. It averages out to 4% total damage on the target, but of course this stacks and scales with all your other damage mods that you're going to be using when you're bursting and so on. So it's a really nice talent to pick up that should equal out to about 4% damage increase over the whole fight, and I use this when I can on rotation, on cooldown, as part of any caster spec. It will take some time to get used to for sure, but it does lead to an overall damage increase. So Black Arrow is something you definitely want to consider for all of your caster specs. Okay, so let's get into point number 3, and this is also a hunter talent. This one's in the Marksmanship Hunter, and it's Ranged Weapon Specialization. Now, this talent increases all damage you deal when you've got a ranged weapon equipped by 5%. if you put 3 talent points into it. Now, I often run this, sometimes I don't. It depends on what my other talent essences are being used for. But if I have some free talent essence, then that's a really good talent to pick, as 5% flat damage for 3 talent essence is actually pretty good talent essence economy and damage per point. So that one's definitely something to look at if you have some talent essence left over that isn't going into your core ability set. Okay, so last up, the final point I have on ranged weapons on caster specs is just the stats they bring. So as a caster, you have to hit a pretty high hit cap in order to ensure that your spells are going to hit a boss. And you'll want to be picking up as much hit as possible on your gear so that you don't have to heavily invest in it in the talent trees. Now, ranged weapons, wands don't often come with hit. I can't actually think of any wands that have hit. But as we discussed previously, ranged weapons are better than wands anyway because of the other benefits they bring. But ranged weapons also often have stats like hit and crit in abundance. So to start off with, on most of my specs now, I run with the Satyr's Bow, which is a bow you can get from Dire Maul. It's so easy to get, and it has plus 10 hit on a slot that otherwise would just be filled with a totem or a wand that gives you spell power, and hit is so much more valuable than spell power because if you miss the mob, all the damage of that spell is gone anyway. So you'll definitely want to be looking out for hit weapons. There are some really good ones, Core Marksman's Rifle for example. I'll put a few up on the screen so you can see some of the stats on them, but the stats on these guns and bows is nothing to be scoffed at, and it's something that you'll definitely want to look into because it can save you talent essence on hit talents and just makes it generally easier to hit the hit cap that you'll need to reach as a caster. So those are 4 reasons, guys, that you'll want to be running a ranged weapon as a caster in Project Ascension. Let me know if you can think of any more reasons down in the comment section. If there's something that you don't agree with, then let me know. And finally, I'd just like to point to a guide on the Project Ascension wiki, which has loads of helpful tips, including some of these on it, written by Turn, who is a member of Shure, the guild that I'm in. And yeah, it's got loads of tips for a caster on how to build the perfect caster, so definitely check that one out. I'm sure I'll probably cover some more of those in the future if you are interested. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.